This is a digital SAT question. I've changed the numbers so that you can still work this on a practice test without accidentally memorizing the answer. If you want the answer to the specific question on a practice test, send me an email or look it up on YouTube, whatever that practice test is, whatever question number. Like I said, you can send me an email at franktutor@outlook.com. I do digital SAT and ACT and next year digital ACT prep and for the TSIA test and the AccuPlacer and your math, just regular school math. I also tutor that. But anyway, you don't have to pay me for me to answer a question that you send via email. So if you work a practice test and you don't understand something and you don't want to check out videos on YouTube, you want to ask someone, ask me, and I will give you an answer. If it's your regular math, question 17 on a worksheet that you have that's homework and you don't understand how to do it, send it to me. I'll show you how to do it. I'm not going to work a whole worksheet for you, but individual questions that you've already tried, I'll work those so that you can see how they are worked. But anyway, so this is not a question that's actually not this specific question on the digital SAT, but a question very much like it is. And I say start by reading the question. Read and understand the question and answer choices. There are no answer choices on this one. It is a grid and a fill-in. Function g of x is defined by g of x equals negative ax plus b, where a and b are constants. In the xy plane, y equals g of x minus 7. Has a y-intercept at 0, negative 87 thirteenths. The product of a and b is 255 over 13. What is the value of a? What kind of a question is this? What kind of math does it deal with? Well, exponents. It's an exponential function. Function transformations. We have transformed g of x minus 7. We've moved it 7 units down. And functions. This is an x and y value. We can plug it into a function. Can I use Desmos to get this answer? I doubt it because you have two variables, two unknowns, a and b, and there's not multiple choices. If there was choices, a could be 17, 22, 36, whatever. Then I could have something to plug in and have a starting point. But since there's two different things, a and b, it's going to be very difficult to get that on Desmos. But it's not difficult to do it by hand. Keep a few things in mind. Anything to the 0 power is equal to 1. Because it's negative, there's no parentheses, multiply by negative 1 after raising a to the power. The only time you would multiply by negative 1 before raising to the power if it was negative a in parentheses raised to the x power. And then this, g of x minus 7, means that I've shifted g of x down 7 units. To get back to g of x, I just add 7. So whatever y values I have for g of x minus 7, if I add 7 to the y value, I get the y value at whatever that x is for g of x. Where does that come into play? It comes into play right here. This y-intercept, if I add 7 to it, that's the same as adding 7 times 3 is 20, 91 thirteenths. You do have to know how to manipulate fractions, how to add and subtract fractions. If I add 7 to this y value, or 91 thirteenths to it, I'm going to get the y-intercept of g of x. 91 minus 87 is 4. So the y-intercept is 0, 4 thirteenths for g of x. Now I can just plug this in for x and y into g of x and then solve it for a or b. Let's see what happens. Negative a to the 0 power, x is 0, plus b equals 4 thirteenths. A to the 0 is just 1. Negative 1 plus b equals 4 thirteenths. If I add 1 to both sides, b equals 4 thirteenths plus 1, which is 4 thirteenths plus 13 thirteenths. B is 17 thirteenths. And now here it says the product of a and b, product means multiply, a times b, which is 17 thirteenths, equals 255 over 13. And if I multiply both sides by 13, divide by 17, I get A equals 255 over 13 times 13 over 17. The 13's cancel. A equals 255 over 17. Now you cannot type that into Desmos. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 characters. Only 5 can go in. So just do that division and type in 5 characters plus including the decimal point, or maybe it'll come out to a whole number. And guess what? It does. It comes out to 15. So A equals 15. And if it had asked for B, it would have been even simpler. B equals 17/13. So that's how to work that question on digital SAT. So remember again, if you have any questions about this question or any other questions that you run into on digital SAT or even in your regular math, or you have a child who would like to get some preparation for SAT or ACT, Frank Tutor at Outlook.com. And if someone says, well, wait a minute, this is the video game age and AIs and everything has to be interactive. Okay, it's interactive. Look, it's moving. Frank Tutor at Outlook.com. Whether it's small or whether it's big, I will answer your questions generally by the next day. So if you need something within 5 minutes, don't expect that I'm just staring at my email and waiting for something to come and I'll answer it that quick. I'll answer it by the next morning. Frank Tutor at Outlook.com for your digital SAT and ACT tutoring, math tutoring in general. If you have any questions, send them to me via email. That's it for this one.